There he was pontificating on high about Tory sleaze, Keir Starmer.
As ever, one rule for them, another rule for everybody else. A new Britain built on decency, security, prosperity and respect is welcome in my Labour Party.
Remember this?
What a joke. Even now, as the latest mealy-mouthed apology stumbles out of one side of his mouth, a new set of deflections and distortions pour from the other. But the damage is already done. The public have made up their mind. They don't believe a word the Prime Minister says. They know what he is. As ever with this Prime Minister, those close to him find themselves ruined, and the institutions he vows to protect damaged. Good ministers forced to walk away from public service, the Chancellor's career up in flames, and the leader of the Scottish Conservatives rendered pathetic.
Come election time, people like Carol Vorderman bragging on about Tory sleaze.
Divisiveness, their cruelty, their robbing and their lies. Go there. StopTheTories.vote right now. See you there.
And now we learn that Sir Keir Starmer has declared more gifts and freebies than any other MP. And yes, that includes more than Boris Johnson. Keir's total in gifts, benefits and hospitality since 2009 topping £150,000. Here he is justifying why he needs to be in a box at his beloved Arsenal.
I've had season tickets at Arsenal for a long time now, up in the stands, where I've gone with my boy and my friends for year after year after year. Now I'm Prime Minister. The security advice is that I can't go into the stands. Or if I did, you'd have to put so much sort of security in that it would cost the taxpayer a fortune. As a result, I've been offered tickets elsewhere in the ground where it's more secure. We don't have to use taxpayer money on additional security, and that's why I've taken the decision that I have.
Oh, that's good of him. In the meantime, Keir, Prince William, who is arguably far more important than you, and Rishi Sunak, when he was Prime Minister, were able to sit in the stands. But Keir wants us to believe that he's doing this because he cares about the taxpayer. Please! If you cared about us, Keir, you'd backtrack on your ridiculously damaging policies. I mean, this has got to be the most uncaring government I have ever had the misfortune to be led by. And they've only been in power for just 10 weeks. They've only just started. They've attacked pensioners, removing their winter fuel allowance, and school children with the VAT raid, whilst accepting gifts. But they're all at it. Angela Rayner, who accepted £3.5 grand's worth of clothing. Rachel Reeves, our Chancellor, who accepted £7,500 free clothes. Perhaps she could donate them to pensioners to keep them warm. David Lammy, accepting £10,000. I mean, this is ridiculous. So whilst the Labour leader was fanning the flames of Partygate, and even as Beergate came out when he said Angela Rayner wasn't there, even though a video emerged showing a mystery redhead in what looked like the same room as him, and when he said it was an impromptu gathering with about 6 people, which turned out to be at least 19 after someone discovered a receipt which showed if there were only 6 people there, they must have been either very hungry or incredibly greedy. And then a memo was unearthed to confirm that there was nothing impromptu about the meeting itself. The man who let abusers out of jail early to make way for people who had made hurty-feeling posts on social media. Now, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that people who inadvertently instigated riots shouldn't be punished, but there has to be a level of proportionality. You can't empty the jails of petty thieves and domestic abusers to make room for these people. He accepted free clothes for his wife. What kind of man allows another man to buy his wife clothes? And he accepted £2.5 grand's worth of spectacles, whilst earning £167,000 as a Prime Minister, and is rumoured to have a property portfolio worth millions. Well, that's way more than most. Surely the Starmers can also afford to buy their own clothes. He's also got a massive pension.
A man with a pension so gold-plated that the House of Commons legislated for it individually. There was a statutory instrument laid during the coalition years entitled the Pension of Mr Keir Starmer. I mean, that's how much cash this guy has, and yet he's accepting gifts.
So even with evidence mounting against Keir, some were so angry with Boris over Watergate, Wallpapergate, Partygate, Animalgate, to even question the integrity of Sir Keir Starmer. And those of us who did were seen as far right. Well, here he is, folks, our great leader. It's fascinating listening to people trying to excuse his behaviour and that of his close Labour allies. You can almost see the mental gymnastics that they use to try and excuse him. So whilst things have got worse for us, they certainly got better for Keir and his greedy clan. Absolutely disgraceful and utter hypocrite. Well, before we get stuck into the debate, here's what else is coming up today. For the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking a political commentator and trade unionist, do you believe Reform UK could replace the Tories? Then it's The Pulse, where we look into the latest health stories. And this week, NHS hospitals are increasingly charging patients for treatment with income rising by a quarter in just a year. Isn't that outrageous? Or is it about time that NHS became part of a privatised system? That's coming up. As ever, tell me what you think. Post your comments. Send me your thoughts. gbnews.com/your say. Right, well, let's get the thoughts of the now former Labour Minister Denis MacShane. Denis MacShane, surely it's indefensible, all these freebies? And I'm not saying that he's alone in it. I mean, the other ministers from other parties have accepted freebies as well. But he's in power and he held Boris Johnson up and literally told us how bad Boris Johnson was for being so dishonest and distrustful. And isn't what he's doing similar?
It's a lovely sunny day outside, Nana, but you're really storming through. It's very good, very powerful. I love it. But, I mean, there's no comparison with Boris Johnson because there was a lot of serious problems with COVID, with corruption, with putting people in the House of Lords, taking money from Putin that Starmer's not guilty of. What he is guilty of, undoubtedly, and believe me, talking to all my Labour friends today, yesterday, this week, and there's a lot of worrying concern, is a lack of judgment. What he doesn't have is what I call a JAP. He needs a JAP in his team. What is a JAP? It's Jonathan Powell, J, A, Alistair Campbell, P, Peter Mandelson. And there seems to be no one there who just says, look, Prime Minister, don't do this for your own sake. We know you're not cheating or thieving or anything, but don't do it. And this is what baffles me, is just the lack of judgment.
So he hasn't got a moral compass of his own. He needs somebody else to tell him that don't accept free... I don't think he should be accepting free Taylor Swift tickets. I don't think he should be accepting free tickets for Arsenal at all. He's got a massive salary compared to most people. He's also got a property portfolio worth millions. So he's not a poor man. So why on earth would he allow another man to give his wife clothes? It's not good enough.
The only thing where your lovely list of crimes against humanity you're reading out against him, the only thing where I just jibbed a bit, looking at what has happened in terms of assassination attempts on world leaders, if he is told, don't go to your usual seat, here's a kind of box somewhere far off, you can sit there. That's the only area. On the suits, on the glasses, I don't even understand how somebody gives you glasses. You have to go to an optician to be checked for glasses. These are all things that, frankly, I think they'll be lost in the wash. I remember...
Well, he hopes he can buy them himself.
Well, yes, many people buy their glasses themselves. Others go to Specsavers. Now, I remember there's a guy called Chris Mullen, who you'll remember, a very distinguished left Labour MP, a friend of mine, sat side by side by him, was closer than I am to you, about 1994, 95, and I'm jeering at John Major and the Tories for sleaze. Do you remember they were accused of sleaze?
Yes, I remember.
And Chris, very hard on the Tories, turned to me and said, Dennis, shut up, because we'll be in power soon and we will be found out to be just as guilty in our own way. And that would be, I caution certainly the Conservatives. It's very interesting Nigel Farage isn't doing too much on on sleaze because, of course, he's trousered £140,000 a year since he's been an MP and just turned up 3 times in the Commons. Most of us expect MPs. I was expected to be in the Commons working for my constituents. What's Nigel doing?
Well, he has said...
That's later in the year.
He has said that he's doing that because he's worried for his own security and safety. And
the House of Commons?
No. I'm talking about the Clacton stuff. Are you talking about the House of Commons?
No, I mean, he can work in Clacton. He can work remotely if necessary. He has just done 3 questions and trousered £38,000 from money outside, not his very handsome salary, not his very handsome expenses. So, I mean, reform. Well, good luck to reform.
Yeah, but
yes, I know they're allowed to. And the Tories were, the number of Tories who were landlords and stopped any reform to protect tenants. In the Whip's office, they all had an interest in ensuring tenants were treated badly.
Exactly. Well, look, so exactly...
We're not a ping pong.
So the point of this is that when you have a vested interest or somebody's giving you a gift, it's not really... it's very difficult for you to then make a sort of an objective decision. You're going to be making decisions. Somebody's softened you up with some gifts, some glasses and all this and all that. And the worry is that people can then infiltrate your decision-making. And if you're in power, that's not really a good look.
I completely agree with you, and that's why Robert Jenrick shouldn't even be in the competition, because he took, on behalf of the Tory party, big money from a property developer and actually overrode his own planning inspection and the law of the land to give this Tory mate a development possibility.
OK, well, listen, we could talk about that for ages, because I'm still waiting for the Labour to perhaps remove the whip from Jazz Athwell. So, well, we'll see what happens with that. But thank you very much, Denis MacShane. Right.